Hello, YouTube! Welcome to my very first playthrough of Asagao Academy. A couple things. First off, I will be getting winded throughout this. I'll try and keep that to a minimum, but hey, my lungs hate me right now. And long story short, I got pericarditis last week, and it kicked my ass. That's why there hasn't been any uploads. And secondly, my chat is actually just not showing up, so we're gonna just kind of roll with what it's with no chat. I'll read anything that comes through. Multiple times already, actually. Like, yeah, I don't get it. I just don't want to come through. Anyway, so before we get started, I am going to preface this game with this. I have seen Pro Jared's playthrough. I have seen John Tron's, and I have seen the Completionists. Those three are off the table. I'm thinking of going for PBG. That's who I think I want to go for. Or, if I could, Kid Icarus. But he is not an option. At least I don't think he is. I didn't find any signs of him anywhere as online. So anyway. Oh, and also, this will be a shorter stream. Like, guaranteed, probably hour and a half. I cannot go for marathons anymore. At least not right now. I am working up to it. The train made its way along the gentle curve of the coast of Japan, whisking me farther and farther from home. Across from me sat a boy, face half buried in a newspaper. Oh my god, I forgot he's the first one I meet. He was deeply entranced in whatever article he was reading, hadn't spoken a single word to me, even when I asked if I could join him as the last compartment with any available space. He shrugged, nodded, and adjusted his newspaper without ever making eye contact. It had been almost an hour, in fact, and he hadn't once looked at me. Devoid of conversation, I looked instead to counting the buttons on the pretentiously lush carmine seat cushion. That's the plan, Foxy Rainbows. He says, do what you can and take care of yourself. Health is important, and it absolutely is. I never like seeing people pushing themselves past their limits, even though that's exactly what I'm doing right now. I am doing it for the sake of I need to get my strength back up. I cannot do a lot of what I like to do. I can do walks with my wife, but that's it. I cannot stay active for too long, and playing a game like this is going to help me a lot. 1, 2, 3, 21, 22, and so forth. Over and over. Now and again, I turned to look out the window where the trees were blurring by. Sometimes smeared green would break and reveal a quiet blue of the Sea of Japan. Eventually, this rapidity made my stomach churn, and I went back to counting buttons on the seat cushions. Oh, yeah, my bitrate's going crazy. Of course it is. Sorry for the drop in quality for people on Twitch. It will be up on YouTube tomorrow. Yeah, I gotta get this up immediately. 1, 2, 3. Train compartment shuddered around us. My eyes wandered to the boy in his jacket. It wasn't the school-issued blue that I and the other students on the train were wearing. Instead, it was green, varsity-like jacket with an embroidered patch poorly sewn on the front. So you're a first year then? He folded his newspaper neatly, sat on his lap, and looked at me with a half-interested gaze. I completely forgot that Jared is actually the first one, and you know what? I know there was some shit about him a couple years ago, and I do care about all the allegations that happened, but he proved them false in my opinion. Jared has actually always been a massive inspiration to me about doing this. He's part of the reason that I do streaming and whatnot. But like I said, I've seen his playthrough. I'm not gonna romance Jared. He folded his newspaper neatly, set in his lap, and looked at me with a half-interested gaze. Did he just catch me staring? Not the paper was gone. I saw his face. He watched me through heavy-lidded eyes. His hair was immaculately groomed, his teeth straight and blindingly bright. There was something about him, the way the light hit him, that made him look like he was almost sparkling. I mean, what else do pretty boys do? I'm pretty sure they all sparkle. Me? He glanced around the compartment, empty besides us, and laughed. Oh, no, I'm not first year. I'm a third year. Train began to slow, metal wheels groaning against metal tracks. Sudden shift threatened to rob me of whatever was left of my stomach, but I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, willing myself to keep it together. What kind of impression would I leave, puking on a student before I even arrived at the academy? The boy frowned. I picked up the hem of cotton skirt. It's not possible. I've never seen you before. It took me a moment of mouth fishing to find a response. That's because I'm a transfer student? He laughed again. Transfer student, huh? Don't get many of those. Moved my acceptance letter from the front pocket of my uniform. The paper, heavyweight, off-white, had accumulated creases from my reading, as if the words might have changed since the last time I read it. The boy took it, studied it, and then handed it back to me.
I'll see you around.
Well then, Hannah, I suppose I'll be seeing you around. He smiled at me as he picked up the suitcase lying next to him. By the time I hiccuped a response, he was already gone from the compartment. I stared out into the empty hallway of the train. It was then that I realized he, having gotten it from my acceptance letter, knew my name, and I never got his. The train settled at the station, and I filed out with the rest of the uniformed students. It was early April, and the last frost of winter had come and gone. Trees were already green, their leaves shivering in the occasional gust weaving through them. The air was mild, only a few clouds hanging in the sky. I walked along the road with a swarm of blue-jacketed bodies, looking at the groups breaking off from the crowd. Everyone was buzzing so animatedly around me. I held my suitcase tight in my sweaty hands. It was leather-bound and worth more than anything it contained. I wasn't far to the school, and I was, for maybe the first time in my life, thankful that what I owned didn't amount to much. My school issued black Oxfords, click, click, clicked on the pavement. I walked this walk over and over in my mind. So many nights I lie awake, imagining what it would be like to walk from the train station to Asagao Academy for the first time. My new start. I always imagined that everything would change for me on this walk. That somehow everything would be magically different. But as I looked around, I realized nothing had changed. I hadn't changed. By the time I reached the massive gate to the academy, I forgot all about the disappointment slouching in the back of my throat. The school, framed by the gate's twisting black metal, was just as beautiful as the glossy photos I saw it in pamphlets. This was it, Asagao Academy. I glanced around. The swarm of students gathered around the gate. Beyond it, tiny blue people bounced around the academy's main building. Girl pressed a button to one side of the gate. The excitement in the air was almost palpable. A few moments later, the black gate, with great effort, creaked outwards and cleared the pathway. As the rest of the group shifted into motion, I followed along, a sheep in the herd. My stomach tied itself into knots. I'm trying, guys. Okay. The crowd split off in different directions. For a moment, I panicked. A tired-looking man with gray hair called out for first years. There were fresh-faced students gathering around him. Hey, look at that girl. I turned a few feet away. A small group of boys were pointing at me and snickering. Pink hair? Are you kidding me? How desperate can you get? Hot shame crawled down my neck. I attached myself to a group of girls, following a few steps behind them. In the distance, cicadas hummed in time to my shoes crunching against gravel. My hair. It wasn't my fault that my hair looked like this. Okay, I found myself at the girls' dormitory. A large sign in the lawn reading Primrose House. The building dwarfed me in size and sheer intimidation. How many students did Asagao have? As I approached the building, a red-headed girl lingering nearby caught my attention. I looked away, then looked back. She was staring at me. She walked over.
Oh, you must be my roommate!
I eyed her warily. She was smiling and bouncing in a way that suggested her views on life were akin to a perpetual bouncy castle. I've known people like that, and you know what? Good on them. I cannot have that mindset. I have tried. I am too fucking cynical of a person to have that mindset. Give me Give me a second. Let me get my breath back. Alright. Those of you watching this on YouTube, don't go catching pericarditis. It is a fucking bitch. Long story short, I cannot breathe as easily anymore. I am working out my lungs right now, trying to get them back up to strength. So many stops will be had as I start feeling a little bit lightheaded. I gotta shut up. Better. I eyed her warily. Oh, yeah, I already said that already. Me?
Bingo.
Of course, you silly. Let me guess. Room 325. Thought back to the paper I received a month prior with a list of all the supplies I needed for the year and my dorm arrangements. Yeah, that's right. She laughed, but I couldn't figure out what was so funny. Was she laughing at me? I found out my roommate was a transfer student. I knew you were going to be a total main character. I'm sorry? A what? When I saw you outside the gate, I knew it was you. I mean, look at that hair. I felt a lump forming in my throat. What was she talking about? She had to be making fun of me. I spent more than 5 minutes on campus and I was already being mocked. Well, I mean, she's not wrong. I mean, you got the main character hair. It's all pink and shit. It stands out. Christ almighty. Look at anime, for Christ's sake. One of my favorite more recent ones. Fucking Assassination Classroom. Every single character had regular ass hair except for 3 of them. One had bright blue hair, the other had bright green hair, and the third one had bright red hair. They all stood out among the black and brown hairs. I don't know why anime does that. My hands began to tremble. Is there something wrong with my hair? Her face slackened from an amused smile to a more worried expression. Then she began to laugh again.
Oh, no. It's great. I'm sorry. We're getting off on the wrong foot, aren't we? Oh, gosh. I'm Mai Sasaki. You must be Hana.
You guys have no idea how much I appreciate the actual voice acting for moments like that. Because it means I can stop and breathe. I bowed my head. It's nice to meet you, Mai. All your school books are waiting up in your room with your welcome letter, and I read the envelope. I hope you're not mad. I started walking towards the dorm's front doors. I followed behind like a lost puppy. Did you check in at the front desk already? No, I didn't. I didn't know I was supposed to. Good. They'll offer to have a staff member give you a tour of the campus, but I can show you around. You don't get many transfer students in year 3, you know. Oh, is that your only bag? Just the one? Glad I brought an extra bag of stuff to decorate our room with. Started already. I hope you don't mind. I did wait to string the lights. I thought we could do it together, you know? She spoke quickly, the words bubbling from her mouth, and left me no time to answer until the end of her monologue. Yeah, okay, that sounds good. She held the front door open for me, and I hurried inside. It's so fucking pink! Girls filed up and down... Girls filed up and down the hallway, howling greetings and exchanging vague niceties that were more often than not, how was your break? And look at how tan you got. Seemed like everyone knew each other. I followed Mai as she led me through a maze of students and up 2 flights of stairs. Each dorm floor looked the same as the last, narrow white doors lining both sides of the pale pink walls. Thin gold numbers were tacked on the front of each, the numbers rising as we climbed. You're not missing anything with the campus tour, I promise. Mr. Saitomo does them every year, and he's like totally dull. He just drags you around the entire campus and talks in that weird squeaky voice of his. I'll tell you everything you need to know. I smiled, trying to let this calm my nerves. Thanks. We headed down a hallway on the 3rd floor. Mai stopped us in front of a room numbered 325. Here we are. Liar, the string lights are already up. What the shit are you trying to pull, Mai? Faint smell of potpourri wafted through the room. The walls, like the hallways, were a soft, powdery pink. Mai, all ready to face them with a tapestry of posters, magazines, cutouts, and photographs. Some of the photos were of cats, but most were of male models and rugged musicians. A bunk bed, 2 writing desks with wooden chairs, small dresser, and a mirrored vanity, all clearly provided by the school, were the only pieces of furniture in the tiny room. Top bunk was already covered in neatly tucked blankets and throw pillows of clashing patterns and colors. Bottom bunk had a single, stiff-looking pillow, thin cotton blanket that I didn't even need to touch to know was horribly itchy. I must have grimaced because Mai quickly smiled at me. I brought way too many pillows and blankets. I always overpack. Went to Italy over break and Mom got really mad at me because I brought 5 bags. We were only there for a week. She laughed, pulled several blankets and pillows from her bunk and rearranged them neatly on mine. A sudden twinge of guilt and embarrassment hit me. There, that's much better. Thanks, Mai. I placed my suitcase on the bottom bunk and began to unpack its contents. Several changes of clothing, pens and pencils, empty notebooks, a few photographs of my father, a dilapidated stuffed rabbit, an old portable radio, and a small black box. I opened the curtains and the sunlight poured in. So, where are you from? Said the now empty suitcase under the bottom bunk. About 2 hours north of here, it's a small town called Amaririsu. Amaririsu, I think. Probably never heard of it. So at the stuffed rabbit, Mr. Bunny, on my bed beside a purple and teal throw pillow. Oh, did you go to a different boarding school or... No, I went to a public school down the street from my house. Public school? What was it like there? Students mean? Did you have a lot of friends? I always went to private school. My parents work a lot, and my dad goes overseas, so I think they stuck me here for convenience. Oh, hey, what's that? I removed an ornately patterned origami crane from the black box and was sitting on the unclaimed writing desk. Oh, this? My mother made it for me a long time ago. Set it beside a stack of thick textbooks, which I assumed were provided for me. I'm trying. I'm actually getting a little bit dizzy, so hang on. Alright. So how's the chat going? How are all you guys doing right now? Hopefully you're all having a good time, and I hope you guys on YouTube are doing fine. I'm taking a small break here. My head's actually starting to get a little woozy. So please, if you guys got anything you want to say, anything you want to talk about, dear God, please say so. Please feel free. I'll answer any questions you have or something like that. This is a bad. I effectively have asthma to a point. I don't want to say I have asthma, but I need the breaks. Okay, feeling good. Wow, it's so pretty. I've never seen paper like that before. Oh yeah, the lights. Let me get them. Mai went to her own desk, opened the drawer, and pulled out a long, tangled string of fairy lights. Thought these would look nice. Here, help me string them up. She grabbed a container of push pins and pulled a wooden desk chair out and over to the wall. I did the same with my own. Together, we pinned the lights around the perimeter of the room. How's the train ride over? Did you meet anyone? No, not really. I was in a compartment with some guy and... Some guy, huh? Was he cute? Fucking adorable. Oh, yeah, I guess. I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention. I didn't even get his name. Mai seemed disappointed for a moment and then perked back up. You have to point him out to me if you see him again. Okay. Look, as a guy who went to private school... At least in my experience, it's very easy to run into someone multiple times throughout a day. Private schools really, I mean, a boarding school like this probably has a shit ton of students, but the private school that I went to, we did not have a lot of students. I graduated in a class of 40 plus people. That's it. I think 44. I think 44 people is what I graduated with total. So yeah, and of those 44, I have seen maybe 10 cents. Yeah. Once we finished stringing the lights, Mai climbed down from her chair and brushed her hands together triumphantly. Done. Okay, now it's time for lunch. Food here is pretty good. There's a ramen place down the street from campus that's like out of this world, but the school only lets us leave campus on weekends. Mai walked to the window. You go today because it's Sunday and it's pretty nice out, but I guess you might want to go to the caf just because since you just got here. We could. She was suddenly interrupted by her own enthusiastic laughter. Oh my gosh, Mimi Santos totally just dripped outside and fell on her face. I saw it! Oh, is that mean to laugh? Maybe I shouldn't have. Oh well, anyways, let's go eat. I'm totally starved. She led me out of the room before I even had a chance to respond. The cafeteria was buzzing with students excited for the new year. The only people as nervous looking as I felt were the table of skittish, wide-eyed first years. I stepped into the line behind Mai, taking an empty plastic tray. We shuffled through, asking for helpings from the sulky cafeteria workers when we passed something that looked good. Full trays, Mai led me straight to the table in the back with a few students were already sitting. I sat down and I took a seat across from her. Hi Mai, how was your break? It was good. I went to Italy and Spain. Dad fell off a jet ski and broke his ankle. It's better now though. Oh. Well, that's nice. I expected to be introduced, but the girl turned back to her group of friends and Mai turned back to me. She began to assault her food with a fork and tell me, in a practically minute-by-minute account, about her fleeting romance last summer with a boy she met on the beach that didn't go further than a few salty kisses. Sat back and let Mai talk for the first time since arriving on campus. I felt like I was finally able to breathe. God, that must feel nice. Because I sure as shit can't. Although, I will say, chat, this is a lot better than I've been the last few days. I'm actually impressed I haven't thrown in the towel yet. That said, I do intend to make this short. If I can make it to my 2-hour mark that I usually do for May Date, then I'll do that. Because don't forget, guys, it's still fucking May Date. I might have missed like a week and a half, but it's still goddamn May Date. I picked up my Brussels sprouts and studied Mai as she spoke. I can't stand Brussels sprouts. They gotta be cooked in a specific way, and I'll eat them, but I can't stand them normally. The more she talked, the more I began to know small details about her. She had a high, songbird voice.
What?
She was dynamic, her face twisting this way and that into exaggerated expressions as she spoke. She laughed often. She imitated people in wildly unflattering voices, seemingly unrelated to her actual opinion of them. Most importantly, she talked. A lot. Most notably, she talked a lot. I didn't find this particularly annoying as it filled the silence and she hardly ever asked questions that required my full attention. Just as Mai was rounding off a shockingly detailed account of the time she accidentally walked in on her friend's older brother in the act of changing, a flash of familiar green caught my eye. I glanced over. Hey, that's him. Huh? Who? I leaned across the table to whisper just in case he could hear me through the ambient chatter of the lunchroom. The boy from the train. That's him.
What?
Jared? Yeah, with the weird green jacket and swoopy hair. He just picked up his tray and was walking past us when something seemed to catch his eye. Oh, you. I looked up at him, suddenly realizing he was talking to me. Hana, I met you on the train. How are things settling down for you? Really well. I found my roommate and she's been helping me out. I gestured to Mai, who was thunderstruck. In fact, looking around, everyone was. People stopped eating and turned to stare at Jared and me. My shoulders bunched around my neck. Well, if you ever need any help, I'll be around. Third year, right? I nodded. So my friends are in that year. Of course, they can't compare to me, but I'll give them a heads up to look out for you. He flashed a dazzling smile, then winked. It's the least I can do for such a cute girl. Well, I'll see you around. Fucking Jared. I do find his story fantastic in this. Although, oh my god, his mother is such a fucking bitch. I watched a torrent of thoughts raging through my head as he took a seat next to a bunch of guys who were all wearing the same jacket. Give me a moment. Did my boss finally? Nope. All right. That's Jared! She tore her eyes away from him and looked at me.
He's so cute.
He's the most beautiful guy in school.
Gosh.
I can't believe you just looked at me. I looked at Mai. Her cheeks were glowing an indecent pink. Actually, I think that if you don't go for Jared, I think Mai automatically goes for him in the story. It's either him or PBG that she automatically goes for. Why do they all wear those jackets? Aren't all the guys supposed to wear blue blazers as part of their uniform? No, they're allowed to. They're... You know, Jared? The girl turned back around and was looking at me with sudden interest. Did I know him? I only talked to him on the train for a few minutes, so not really. We weren't friends or anything. Looking around, Maya and this girl weren't the only ones who were interested. Everybody seemed to be listening in. They seemed so surprised when he talked to me. A little white lie wouldn't hurt? I mean, technically I know him, but not really. Oh, she looked me up and down, sniffed, and turned away. Mai leaned towards me. Don't mind Mimi. She was just trying to get in with you. Get in with me? Why? Oh, you asked me about those guys in their jackets, right? Those are their Normal Boots Club jackets. They're... what? What's Normal Boots Club? I want to know what the fuck PBG is playing so much that John looks upset with him. But yeah, looking at the choices again, I think PBG is who I'm going to go for. Or Jacques. I could go for Jacques. Oh my god, I never noticed. Jacques has his own little fucking coat. I never caught that when I watched Pro Jared play this. Oh my god, I love it. But yeah, I think, yeah, PBG. I maybe Gerard. Although I think Gerard's a difficult one to get. I think you gotta do some specific shit. It's a club we have here at school. It's like totally exclusive and full of only the coolest students. They get together and play video games or something. That one right there is John, also known as JonTron. His bird's name is Jacques. John is also the president of the drama club here at school. Okay. Wait, I thought Jared was... Nah, he's just the pretty boy. Next to him is PBG. He and John founded the Normal Boots Club together. PBG is one of the best soccer players on our team. Then there's Gerard. People call him the completionist because he's obsessed with completing things. He has the biggest itty-bitty kitty collection I've ever seen. Next to him is Jared, also known as Pro Jared. He's a model. That's what it was. He's a model, not... Okay. Then there's Satchbag, but everyone calls him Satch. He's, like, crazy smart. Those guys over there are Paul, Nick, and Josh. They write a column in the school newspaper called Continue. Paul, the one standing up, is the student council president. I've actually watched some episodes of Continue, and it's actually really... It's a unique way of doing a show. It's the three of them will play a game in each episode. Each one of them picks a game to play in the episode. Wow, I stumbled over that. Scotty, you made it. You have missed like 3 or 4 asthma attacks. But I'm tanking through, man. But anyway, Continue. Each guy brings in a game, and they play it for 5-10 minutes, just get an idea of what the game is, and they will choose if they will continue playing it or pass. And oh my god, they play some goddamn... They play some goddamn awful games. They do play some good ones, though, every now and then. I haven't watched them in a while. I need to get back to them. I really liked them, if they're still, going. And the guy on the end there is Shane. He knows more about video games than anyone, ever. Well, did you know gaming? She exhaled a dreamy sigh into her mashed potatoes. I mean, okay, look. All cards on the table. I sigh dreamily at my mashed potatoes, too. I love mashed potatoes. Shit's delicious. So, how would you, join the Normal Boots Club? You don't choose the boots, Hana. The boots choose you. What does that even mean? You have to be presented with the boots to be in the club, and they're, like, super selective. What are the boots? The club has this boot statue. It's like the one on their patches, but it's gold-plated. It's their mascot. guess. They do this weird initiation ritual with it. Ritual? I hear they fill the room with candles and wear these totally creepy robes during initiation. This year 2 girl said she saw it once and they were all like chanting around the boots and sounded like they were talking backwards. But I don't believe her, and even if it's true, I don't care if they're a cult because they're all really hot. Do they have a lot of friends? Yeah, tons of friends. I'd say they're the most popular kids at school. I mean, everyone in the school totally looks up to them. I bet they could get any girl in school too. Or boy, for that matter. Hey, are you going to eat your cake? I shook my head and pushed the plastic tray across the table to her. For the remainder of lunch, I listened to my talk about Jared through mouthfuls of half-dissolved frosting. Back at the dorm, I sorted through the pile of textbooks the school left for me. My radio was playing a poppy tune, equal parts music to static. I fervently scribbled in a notebook at her desk, hunched over it with strikingly poor posture. That sounds like me. I'm actually kind of hunched over right now. I need to... Oh, that felt good. Oh, it felt so good it gave me a goddamn coughing fit. Hey, Mai? She didn't bother looking up. Am I supposed to have a textbook for History 309? She shuffled through the papers on her desk before producing a thick textbook. A Jumor man with a powdered wig frowned at me from the cover. Yeah, this one. I sighed. I don't have that one. The school must have missed it. Mai shrugged and set the textbook back in her pile. They have a bunch at the library. You can just check one out. Here's the library. Mai rifled through her notebook and wrote something down. She tore the page out and handed me a crudely drawn map. Oh. Okay, well, I'll be back in a little bit. Helpful, Mai, helpful. It took me at least 20 minutes to find the library. By the time I realized I was holding the map upside down, the sun was setting. The library was much larger than I expected. The walls lined from floor to ceiling with books of all sizes on rough wooden shelves. Intimidated, I headed for the front desk. Recognizably green and gray jacket was bent behind the counter. Normal boots. Maybe if you considered running away. Can I help you? Too late. Yeah, the school forgot to give me one of my textbooks. I was told I could get it here. Which one is it? The History 309 textbook? He stepped from behind the counter and motioned for me to follow. We dodged between the aisles in uncomfortable silence. He seemed friendly enough. I should say something. I actually, of all the Normal Boots people, Satch is the one I know nothing about. Like, I have watched at least one thing from every single Normal Boots member, but not him. I honestly don't even know what Satch does. And, I mean, hell, of Normal Boots, I can recommend literally any one of them. He seemed friendly enough. I should say something. What was his name again? Shane? Gerard? John? No, not John. Satch! Huh? Oh, you work here? Ugh. Of course he worked here. He chuckled, dimples appearing on his cheeks. Oh. Yeah, I'm the librarian's assistant. It's my second year and I love it. I get to help people find books that speak to them. His eyes twinkled like a kid's on Christmas. The book's right down here. He stopped at a row of thick, dusty books. Was this all history? I pulled out the book with the powdered wig man I saw earlier. Thanks. He waved his hand. It was nothing. Do you need help with anything else? I wanted to make a good impression on the Normal Boots Club, but couldn't come up with anything. No, thanks. You're welcome. As we headed back through the cavernous library, my unease melted away. We weren't talking. Just being near him felt like being wrapped in a soft blanket. I resisted the urge to snuggle up to him. We neared the front desk, stepping around a clump of studying students. As we passed, one of them shifted. Eh! Something white flew past my face. A thick piece of triangular paper lay at my feet. I bent over and picked it up. It was surprisingly heavy. There was a quarter inside of it. If I was just a hair slower, it would have hit me in the face. Students snickered. I recognized the boys that made fun of my hair this morning among them. My heart dropped. I scanned my memory for anything I might have done to offend them, but came up with nothing. My hand started to shake. I hid it behind my back, trying to think of some way to defend myself. Why did you do that? What do you mean? We're just messing around. Are you suggesting we did it on purpose? I faltered. There was nothing I could say. I was outnumbered. They would twist my words around no matter how straightforward I was. Oh, sorry. One of the boys held his hand out for the paper. I inched closer to give it to him, angry at myself for being so compliant. I wish I were. The gentle warmth closed over my hand and took the paper from me. Satch examined the paper closely. I see what the problem is. Your aim would have been better if you cut the corners before you folded it. Placed the paper on the table. The boy looked at him in sheer awe. Be careful, though. You almost hit her. That would have been awful. My hands began to sweat as panic shifted through me. Afraid of the response, but... Geez, we're sorry. We'll be careful next time. Yeah, it was an accident. They apologized? Thanks. I appreciate it. He gave them a wide smile and continued off down the aisle. I followed closely behind, my legs weak. Don't tell me they stopped because of him. Simply because I was with him. I wanted to thank him, but my heart was pounding so hard I knew my voice would shake. We reached the front counter, and he scanned the history book. My lips trembled as I willed myself to say something. Anything to thank him. He tilted his head to the side. What books do you like to read? Oh, fiction? He chuckled. I just finished a good book. I think it'd be right up your alley if you don't mind me saying so. Reached under the counter, pulled out a thick green book, and passed it to me. A man in black stood on the front, hugging a woman in royal robes. It's long, but it's one of my favorites. The Princess Betrothed. I know things can be tough transferring to a school. If you're ever worried, just read this. I'll transport you 100 miles away in a second. Tears stung my eyes, so I ducked my head. Thank you, Satch, for more than just the books. You're welcome. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't think I got your name. My name is Hana Mizuno. I'm a transfer student. Oh, it's nice to meet you, Hana. Let me know if you like the book. I will. Okay, that wasn't that bad. Feeling good. Feeling alright. That couldn't have gone better. Not only was Satch impossibly kind, being around him felt easy, refreshing. Being doused in the mist of a waterfall. Oh gosh, what was I thinking? My cheeks hot, I left the library. 2 surprisingly heavy books under one arm. Settled into bed, eager to get started with my new reading material, but Mai was sitting at her desk, carving a pencil idly into the pages of a notebook. For a few minutes, she released a long, drawn-out sigh as the lead of her pencil whined against her paper. I lowered my book and took the bait. Something wrong, Mai? She let another dreary sigh. I hope Jared notices me this year. I was right. She does go for Jared. Normally. Does Jared know you like him? Mai whirled around in feigned shock. I don't like Jared. Oh. I closed my eyes. I closed my book and set it aside, deciding to play along. Well, have you at least tried talking to him? No. I mean, I have before. Why don't you try again? She bobbed her head from side to side, considering this like it never crossed her mind before. Yeah, maybe I could do that. Satisfied, I picked my book back up. Have you ever had a boyfriend, Hana? Huh? Me? No. Never. Really? Never? Never. Bet you 10,000 yen that you meet a totally cute boy here and fall in love by the end of the school year. You're crazy. Buried my face back in my book, barring Mai from any further discussion. Fall in love by the end of the year? Me? If I were a betting kind of girl, I'd take that bet. I woke the next morning with what felt like a lizard in my throat. I was already up, shuffling through her school bag with an enigmatic grin. First day of school. Hana, you're finally awake. Her voice sliced through the air like a knife, and I winced. She was definitely a morning person. Oh, God. I would never be able to stand that. I am not a morning person. Seriously, though, I'm on the same schedule as my wife. Her alarm wakes me up. And if the alarm doesn't wake me up, our dog does, and I can't get back to sleep, I fucking hate it. I can't say it. I find myself falling asleep throughout the day. It's time for the first day of school. Aren't you excited? I can't wait to see what's going to happen. What do you mean? Is something special happening today? Something strange always happens on the first day of school, especially to someone like you. She winked. Someone like me? You know what I mean. Oh yeah, most anime start on the first day of school, and in some cases it ends with the school being destroyed and the main character being the only one left. Those are dark fucking animes when that happens. She smiled and started messing with a pile of papers on her desk. Shaking my head, I got out of bed and pulled my uniform out of my closet. My palms sweat as I held the gold vest and blue jacket. Is it really possible for things to be different here than they were at home? What if the problem wasn't actually the school? I shook the thoughts out of my head and changed into my uniform. Oh, what is it? Looks so cute. Really? Heat crept up my neck. Yes, completely. Your hair matches your uniform so well. You look like a flower blooming straight out of the ground. Thank you. Water stung the back of my eyes, and I turned to start packing my backpack. Why was I getting so worked about something as little as this? I must have gotten less sleep than I thought. Is something wrong? No, nothing's wrong. I'm just happy. How dumb was that? I started crying at the first sign of someone being nice to me. I took a deep breath to steady my nerves. What an oddly menacing thud. All the air left my lungs, something like horse hooves slammed against my back. You'll do just fine. Don't worry, this is going to be awesome. I stiffly peered over my shoulders. That was you? Huh? Maya stood behind me, her hand raised. Somehow she had the strength of a bodybuilder. Nothing. I was just about to zip my bag up when I spotted the book Satch gave me lying on the nightstand. Princess Betrothed. He said if I ever needed to be transported somewhere far away, I could take it with me. It's pretty good so far. Maybe it would be smart to bring it along, just in case I had no one to talk to between class periods. What I needed for my first day of class? Play it safe. Take it. You know what? First day, you're nervous. Just have it. I put it into my already overfull bag, biting my lip. Uh-oh, this might have been a mistake. Never hurt to be prepared, right? You ready? Yeah, let's go. Yeah, stick with me and you'll be fine. Mai opened the door, and together we stepped into the hallway, merging into a steady flow of chittering girls and fruit-flavored perfume. Oh, Mai, I didn't know we lived on the same floor. No way, really? This is so awesome. Now we'll be able to catch up. Whatever happened between you and... The river of girls shifted as we headed down the stairs. Suddenly I found myself surrounded by a bunch of people I didn't know. Oh, wow, what a jerk he turned out to be. Mai's exclamation faded into the buzz of voices in the air. Oh, no. What would I do if we got separated? Anxiously, I searched the crowd of girls for Mai, but I couldn't find her. Everyone was dressed in the same Asagao uniform. It's difficult to tell anyone apart, and being short really didn't help the situation. As we turned the last corner down the stairwell, I saw a flash of red hair a little ways in front of me. Mai? I reached between two girls and tapped her on the shoulder. Huh? Oh, who are you? The girl's eyes flashed almost like a jolt of electricity shot through them. I'm sorry, I thought you were someone else. She said nothing and turned away before I knew it. I stood outside of Primrose House, watching the flow of girls disperse across the campus. Mai was nowhere to be seen. Couldn't even hear her chirpy voice. Oh, man. I took a deep breath, biting my lip. This wasn't a big deal. I could go to class alone. I didn't even know where the building was. Reached in my backpack and dragged out my class schedule. Homeroom. 206 Poppy Hall? Which one was Poppy Hall again? Weren't the classrooms on the other side of campus? Picked a direction and began to walk, trying to ignore my rising panic at the thought of arriving late to the first day of class. Third year, where no one knew me. All the people staring. Hey, you okay? You look a little lost. Someone called out to me, and I turned around, almost jumping for joy. When I froze. A Normal Boots jacket. He was part of the Normal Boots Club. You know, why is John over... I'd imagine that she's still kind of closer to the girls' dorms. Why is John over here? I don't know. Maybe the boy and girl dorms were actually just that close together. I could practically feel my tongue swelling in my mouth. This was a Normal Boots Club member. I had to make a good impression. He's one of the founders, right? Then he must be JonTron. Yes? I'm new. I don't know where Poppy Hall is. You a freshman? No problem. My class is in Poppy Hall. I'll walk you there. Really? That would be wonderful. Thank you. Was it really happening? He began walking towards a large brick building in an enthusiastic manner, pumping his arms up and down like he was in some kind of show tune. I fell and stepped beside him. I didn't notice when Mai pointed him out yesterday, but JonTron had big brown eyes and a warm-looking face. He was basically a human puppy. Yeah, I can see that. I glanced up at him out of the corner of my eye. Hey, a bird. A bird on his shoulder. Birds always made me uncomfortable. Something about the ease in which they could poke out someone's eye. Is something wrong? Why'd you stop? No, nothing's wrong. He followed my gaze to the bird on his shoulder. Oh, this is Jacques. Isn't he cute? Nice to meet you. I can't do a robot voice. Jacques has a robot voice, but I can't do it. It spoke? Yeah. He put his hand to his shoulder. Jacques jumped into his palm. Jacques is a robot bird. See? Hello. Jacques' eyes gleamed a dangerous red when he spoke, but nothing else suggested he wasn't a normal bird. In fact, if I hadn't known better, I would have said the red in his eyes was painted on. That's amazing. Jacques twitched his head to the side, examining me in return. The more he looked at me, the less afraid I was. What are you looking at? What? Nothing, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, Jacques can be a little sassy. Who are you calling sassy? I'm not the sassy one. I don't forget to feed you. Jacques, that was one time. I was alone and starving in the frozen tundra of this empty world. Loveless. Afraid. Ignore him. Been bringing him with me to the drama club and he's taken a little too well to it. I see how this is. Shut me out like I have nothing to add to the conversation. Jacques retook his place on John's shoulder, this time facing away from us as if miffed. We resumed our walk towards Poppy Hall. Okay, gotta give me a sec, guys. Okay. There you go. I'm Jontron, by the way. Call me John. Hannah, nice to meet you. Hannah, that's a cute name. What? Thank you. So, how long have you had Jacques? Since middle school. We've been together for 4 years now. Ain't that right? I'm not listening. Yeah, well, I love him to death. I don't know what I'd do without him. Seemed like life would be a lot easier without him, but who was I to say? Jacques keeps John from being stupid. At least in his videos. We arrived at the brick building. A white sign surrounded by poppies declared it to be, unsurprisingly, Poppy Hall. Which room are you in? Room 206? Seriously? Yes. That's my homeroom. We're in the same class. John laughed and clasped me on the shoulder. Wonderful. I guess I'll be seeing more of you then, right? Right. Together we entered Poppy Hall. God almighty, all the clicky girls have got to fucking hate her. I mean, she's now had, what, encounters with 3 normal boots people just by fucking chance? Clicky high school girls hate that shit. How dare you, by chance, get to know people? Instead of, just quietly stalk them from a distance. Poppy Hall was lined with fluorescent lights and Asagao blue lockers. The lack of students milling around in the hallway indicated we were a bit late. We ran up the stairs and made it into the classroom just as the bell rang. My heart caught in my throat. Whoops, my bad. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna save. I haven't actually saved. There we go. Return. So apparently right-clicking takes you to the save page. That's actually good to know. Thankfully, the teacher hadn't come yet. Instead, students clumped into tight pods and milled around the classroom, catching up on vacation news. Thank you for so much. Words. Thank you so much for showing me to class, John. No problem. I'll see you around. He waved and disappeared in the wriggling mass of students. I glanced around the room, looking for an empty seat. Anna! Maya peeled herself from between cuddling couple. Was that Jontron? Were you just talking to Jontron? Yeah. Maya's eyes widened and I couldn't help feeling a little smug. I realized I didn't know the way to class after you and I got separated, and he offered to walk me. Maya emitted a highly pressurized squeal. Jontron walked you to class? Oh my gosh, you have to tell me everything. She grabbed me by the wrist and pulled me into an empty desk in the back corner of the room, right next to the window. I saved you a seat. I slid in and took off my backpack, hooking it on the side of my desk. I was a little bit worried that the books inside were too heavy for the bag to handle, but so far it held up well. Sorry we got separated, by the way. Can get a little chaotic sometimes. So tell me, what happened? What did you say? What do you smell like? Does he have peach fuzz? Is it rough? Wait, what? These are very important questions I am asking. You need to answer them. Was his hair super silky, and did it have the roughness of a dog's coat? Or did it have the roughness of a dog's coat? My bad. Before I could answer, the door of the front of the room slid open, and a tall woman strolled in. Glass went quiet and obediently slid into their seats. My heart beat furiously, blood rushing through my ears. Miss Shizuka. Good morning, class. Teacher's melodious voice swam through the room, calming the buzzing high of students back from break. My shoulders relaxed and my fear ebbed away. I am your teacher, Shizuka Wakahisa. You may call me Miss Shizuka. The emphasis she placed on the word led me to believe calling her Mrs. wasn't a mistake she would take lightly. Some of you might have noticed that we have a new student this semester. A hail of murmurs passed through the class. Some people glanced at me. Oh, there was the fear again. Would you like to come to introduce yourself? I nodded, stood, and slowly walked to the front of the room, counting my steps to make sure I wouldn't fall. Faced the class, took a deep breath, and introduced myself. I noticed a familiar face in the crowd. Okay, so I got 3 of them here. There was John sitting with 2 other boys wearing Normal Boots Club jackets. One of the boys, the tallest one, was staring at me, the barest of frowns on his face. Something about him seemed really familiar. Wait. He was PBG, wasn't he? The other founder of the Normal Boots Club. Suddenly, all the strength left my knees. What should I do? Why was he frowning? Was it possible that I already made a bad impression on him? You had to be kidding me. If he didn't like me, what did that mean about everyone else? Wouldn't they follow his lead? I swallowed. The faces of the class began to congeal, forming one giant blob. You moved from Amarisu, right? I nodded and swallowed again. Then, like a beacon of light, I noticed Mai smiling at me, giving me a thumbs up. That's right. What would Mai do in this situation?
Just moved here. My name is Hanamizu. I transferred from Amiririsu Public High School.
Amarisu, that's how it's said. Okay.
I'm really excited to be here. I hope you'll all take good care of me from now on.
I bowed my head to the class and they clapped politely. When I looked up, PBG wasn't frowning, but still seemed oddly confused. Maybe he always looked like that. You know, watching PBG's videos, yeah, a state of confusion is like the norm on his face. Thank you, you may be seated. I returned to my seat, having a small sigh. The hardest part of the day was over. Shizuko began talking about standard procedure for the semester, the rules for classes, when homework was due, and that sort of thing. It was all very similar to my old school, and I spaced out in spite of myself. A brief flicker of movement caught my eye. PBG again. I glanced at him, his head snapped back to the blackboard. What was his problem? Class continued on like that until finally the bell rang and it was time for lunch. Ugh. Mai stretched her arms over her head and yawned. Man, I hate the first day of class. It's always so boring. Only true in high school. In college, the first day of school and the last day of school were always my favorites because they were short as hell days. Like, I would get to one of my college classes, the class would start, and 20 minutes later, I was on my way home. It was nice. Except for the fact that none of my campuses were really that close to my home. Like, wow. Aren't you looking forward to this morning? Something about exciting things happening? Oh, yeah, but it already did. You met Jontron, didn't you? I've got nothing left to look forward to. She sighed. I was hoping to see Jared before class, too. She slouched and fell across the front of my desk. Seemed like this would be happening a lot. Is Jared really that hot? My head snapped back up, her eyes flashing. What did you say? If you stare directly at him for too long, your nose will melt off. I've seen it happen. Anyways, let's head to lunch. I'm super hungry. Oh. I looked at my backpack. It held up well throughout class, but I worried that if I didn't take some of my stuff out now, it might do some permanent damage to it. Especially with Satch's book in there. Couldn't exactly afford a new backpack. I need to put something in my locker first. If we don't go now, they'll run out of sesame seed buns. Oh. It's okay, let's go on ahead. Come find me, okay? Alright. Alright, who am I going to run into next? It's lucky to have someone like her as my roommate. Honestly, Mai is like S-tier roommate. Like, she is fantastic. She's an amazing wingman. And even if you take the Jared route and try and hook up with him, she's fucking cool with it and ends up with PBG. As I could, I went to my locker and shoved the books inside. It's a good book. As good a book as it was, I was infinitely happy that I had Mai around so I didn't have to read it. Without her, who knew what I would do with myself? Especially with PBG staring at me like that. Ugh. Maybe I could ask her what was up with him when I met her at the cafeteria? Which to be the way he was. Cheered, I head for the cafeteria. Carried my melon bread through the minefield of people, searching for the now familiar sight of Mai's red hair. Where is she? Didn't see her anywhere, and there was almost no empty seats. All around me, students circled each other, laughing and joking, sharing bits of food and splitting the cost for sodas. Something felt very obvious and very alone. Is there anywhere I can sit? Just then I spotted a table in the front of the room. Lone boy sat at it, stabbing his spaghetti with the vigor of a Roman general. He's having a hard time with it. Moved closer to him, working up the courage to ask to sit with him. Oh, no wonder he was eating his spaghetti with a spoon. Wait a second. This guy was in my class, wasn't he? I saw him this morning in the front of the room. And he was wearing a jacket just like Normal Boots Club, but different. A golden gray jacket with an 8-bit block on the front. Is he a member of another club, or maybe he was friends with them? Hey, what? Anna. Oh, my. Maya appeared between me and the boy, who glanced up at us before returning to his spaghetti. Thank goodness I found you. I saved you a table in the back. Oh. Looked at the boy, then back at Maya. Come on. She grabbed my shoulder and rather forcefully pushed me to the back of the room. Hey, what's wrong? You are so lucky I got here when I did. That kid is brutal, Moose. His real name's Ian. He's from the Hidden Block Club. Oh, that was. I am so used to what Ian looks like now that just I did not recognize that as him. The Hidden Block Club? Yeah, the rival club of Normal Boots. It's really weird. I mean, she looked around her to make sure no one was listening in, but we were completely alone in our little corner of the cafeteria. He speaks in Comic Sans. Whoa. As a graphic designer, there are really no greater sins than fucking Comic Sans. I have used it for one single project, and that was making a poster for Comic-Con. And my teacher said that is the only reason that he allowed me to do it. And I said I didn't want to do it, but it just felt too right. It's the only time Comic Sans works is when you're actually working on a freaking comic. Yeah, it'd be better to stay away from him, especially since you've already gotten to know some of the Normal Boots guys. What are you talking about? I only just met John today. Haha, yeah, right. So the way PBG was staring at you, he totally likes you. Really? Is that what you thought it was? Either Maya was blind or she had a serious case of wishful thinking. Oh, totally. It was so cute. Just like my favorite manga. You meet in high school, fall in love, and then go off and fight aliens together. I don't think that's going to happen. Have some faith in yourself. That's totally what's happening. I'm going to fight aliens? What is this, Silent Hill with the UFO endings? So now that you're in good with PBG, can you introduce me to Jared? Oh, was that what she was getting at? A hot flash of doubt seized me. Was it possible that Maya only liked me because she thought I knew the Normal Boots guys? Couldn't be the case, though. She was so nice. Still looking at her, shining in your face, I couldn't talk myself out of the idea. I actually thought PBG didn't like me. What? Why would you think that? He was glaring at me. Man, you just don't understand. It's a love triangle. A love triangle. Wait, a triangle now? I can see it. Stars practically erupted from her eyes. PBG, I can't. But Hana, I love you. But my maidenhood. Where are you going with this? I slammed my fork onto the table. Maya looked pleased with herself. Okay, I'm just kidding. You're just really cute when you blush. You almost match your hair. That's not fair at all. I beg to differ. Still, search my mind, eager to change the subject. That was an impressive scenario. No, it wasn't. I just made it up on the spot. Maya laughed nervously. Oh, so that girl who was talking to me when we got separated? I told the story of her past friendship with this girl like they were eternal arch nemesis. Apparently they had some bad blood. I nodded, choosing to take the time to relax. Before I knew it, we were finished eating. Got up and tossed our trays together. As I headed towards the door, though, Maya hesitated. Hey, I forgot something back at the dorm. Oh, need help? Oh, no, I'm totally okay. I'm just going to go get it. I'll see you later, though, right? Okay, see you in class. I waved, and Maya sprinted off in the direction of the dorms. Alone again, I crossed my arms and headed back to Poppy Hall. Large groups of 7 or 8 people were laying out in the sun, playing catch and eating lunch on the lawn. It looked like fun to have so many friends like that. I smiled. Maybe this new school really will be better than my last. Without students inside of... I did it again! Without students inside of Poppy Hall, it looked a bit like an abandoned hospital. That's creepy. My footsteps echoed as I climbed the stairs to the 4th floor. With a sigh, I opened up my locker and pulled out the book Satch gave me. It's a good thing I brought it after all. I stepped into the classroom and saw a flash of movement by the window. A boy sat on the windowsill. He jerked up when I came in. He was silhouetted by the afternoon sunshine. I couldn't quite make out who he was. Okay. Hello, sorry, did I bother you? The boy stood and shook his head, then crossed to a desk on the opposite side of the room. As he passed, I was able to see him clearly. Another Normal Boots jacket. This guy, he was Shane from the Normal Boots Club. How on earth did this keep happening to me? I don't know. It's almost like you're in a goddamn video game and you're just the punchline. I'm kidding. She's adorable. I love her. Shane sat down at his desk, fidgeted with his hands a little, then turned to look at me. You're the new girl. I nodded. I honestly don't know what Shane's voice sounds like. My name is Hannah. It's nice to meet you. He nodded. Shane. Silence filled the space between us. Panic built up inside me. This is my chance to get in with the Normal Boots Club, and I was blowing it. I walked to my desk and sat down, setting the book on top of it. You, Shane looked at me, unsmiling. You're part of the Normal Boots Club? Yes, I am. Why? He spoke as if it were a challenge, almost glaring at me. Oh, I just saw your jacket, so I trailed off. Jackets are really cool. Yes, they are. Silence again. He seemed skeptical, as if expected me to crawl out of my skin and reveal myself to a large amphibious reptile. That would be awesome! And I had to do something. Who knew another chance like this would come? But Shane didn't seem friendly. In fact, he seemed downright suspicious. Surely he wasn't onto me already. It was better not to risk it. I'm gonna give him his space. I chewed my lip and opened my book, finding the page I ended on the night before. Shane's stare still stung, hot on the side of my face. He wasn't looking away. I stared at the page of my book, rereading the same sentence without grasping any of what it said. Been there while reading, where I'll lose myself and keep reading the same shit over and over and over and over again. Give me a sec. I'm kind of impressed that I went this long without getting winded. Okay. Alright, never heard from him. Got it. Finally, a small group of girls entered the classroom and Shane looked away. The atmosphere was broken. I heaved a sigh of relief. What was up with these Normal Boots guys? John was really nice when I spoke to him, but PUG and Shane seemed to hate me. They were anything but normal. I waited for Maya to come to class, wanting desperately to tell her what happened. When the bell rang and Miss Shizuka started teaching, Maya still hadn't come. Weird. Class came and went, bell rang, and I was alone. Yuji stared at me for the entirety of the class period, his face growing more and more menacing by the minute. Now, how his face wasn't stuck in a purple frown, I would never know. Shane and John didn't bother talking to me as they left the classroom, and the other students paired up around me. Hey, Mimi, would you like to engage in casual discourse this evening? Yeah, of course. But why are you talking like that? I slipped my book into my backpack and headed to the dorm. With a sigh, I unlocked the door to my dorm room. As soon as the door opened, I heard...
What?
Maya and I lay in a heap on the floor. I'm so glad you're back. She wrapped her arms around my head and nuzzled me. It's adorable. What are you doing? Come, look. She got off me and helped me to my feet. Without Maya's face filling my vision, I saw something had changed. Oh my goodness. The dorm room looked nothing like what it had before. Posters and fairy lights were still up, but now the window had light pink curtains on it that cast a warm haze around the room. Brand new white carpet was on the floor, pillows were piled high in a mountain on top bunk of the bunk bed. Even our chairs had been replaced with new cushy leather ones. What happened here? Sorry I didn't tell you, but I wanted to surprise you. I thought this would come in yesterday, but it was delayed by a day. I wanted to set it up to be a big surprise. Still not done yet, though. She gestured to some small potted plants arranged in neat rows on her desk. Want to help? Do I ever? I'll admit, since becoming an adult, I love the idea of decorating and rearranging shit. Like, my living room right now, I want to rearrange it just for the sake of, I love rearranging things and finding new ways for shit to work. And that just sounds like fun to me. We finished setting the room up, switching a few objects here and there in order to better facilitate the feng shui, which Mai told me was excruciatingly important. She especially wanted to make sure our room was filled with reds and pinks and coupled items, though for what purpose I wasn't sure. We collapsed with heavy sighs on the floor, and then heaved great big yawns. Not even the end of the day yet, and I'm so tired. Me too. Wait! She shot up suddenly with a jolt. We should get some ice cream.
Really?
Ice cream? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, something to celebrate being roommates. Ice cream here on campus is generally good, I promise. And I'm paying. Well, if that's the case, you made an offer I can't refuse. Sweet, let's go. School shop was a side building off the cafeteria packed with instant noodles and giant bottles of soda. Student wandered the aisles aimlessly, clearly here more to spend time than money. Words. Get my ass kicked by him right now. Mai paid the cashier and grabbed our ice cream cones, mine the one covered in sprinkles. Oh, this is delicious. Isn't it? We're lucky to have such good food on campus, so this would be awful if we didn't. I nodded. I was about to respond when I noticed a commotion outside. Oh, let's see what's going on. I grabbed my arm and dragged me outside. There, three boys wearing normal boots jackets were shouting at each other their faces turning purple. This again. What are you talking about? What the fuck are these idiots doing? I'm clearly the one who possesses the proper masculine form. Yeah, right, I'm taller than you and more attractive to boot. Come on, guys, can you not see these muscles? Nick pulled back the sleeve of his jacket and flexed his arm. These guys always go on about weird stuff like this. They're very energetic. Oh, yeah? Josh got in a downward-facing dog yoga pose and grinned. Look at this butt. Just look at this. What I don't understand is why they don't just ask Jared. Oh, yeah? Paul kneeled down to the ground and took off at a sprint, heading straight for us. Check this out! He sprang into the air and a graceful ballerina's leap spinning through the sky and finally came straight for me. I got a big grin on my face because that's one of those moments where everything just slows the fuck down. When I opened my eyes, I was sprawled flat on the ground, covered in dirt. Something cold and wet oozed to the top of my blouse. Hannah, are you okay? I sat up. Chunks of ice cream fell from my blouse onto my skirt. What happened? You ran into someone, you idiot. My uniform. It's ruined. For a few seconds, sounds and then snickers rippled around like the whining of cicadas. My throat closed up, water stinging my eyes. Not this, not again. I stood up, prepared to walk away with dignity, and the entirety of the normal boots club suddenly appeared in front of my face. What happened here? Seriously? Tears slid down my face. No, not here. I didn't want to cry in front of them. Hannah, are you alright? I'm going home. Wait, Hannah. It's fine. I just want to be alone for now. Took all of my willpower not to run back to the dorm. I immediately changed into my pajamas and climbed into bed, reaching for my stuffed rabbit. What am I going to do if this ends up just like last time? Mr. Bunny stared at me with his big, lifeless eyes. Squished into my chest, losing myself into soft fur. Door opened with a soft click. Hannah, are you okay? I went over in bed to face the wall, pretending to be asleep. I stood in the center of the room for a while, looking at me. Finally, she sat down at her desk and began to work on something. The sound of her pencil scratching against paper stilled my mind. I don't know how many hours passed, but eventually I fell asleep. Yeah, that's kind of embarrassing. I woke up to my alarm beeping, feeling only dread of the hours to come. After the nightmare that was the ice cream incident yesterday, I never wanted to take another step out of my dorm. Curled up inside my blankets as my alarm went off. It was only the second day of school, and I felt the same as I did every morning at home. Mai, of course, was already up, and I could hear her hair straighten her clap shut every few seconds from across the room. I felt bad about letting the alarm go off for so long, so I slid my hand out of the cover to switch it off. Hannah, get up, sleepyhead. I know you're awake. I didn't have time to poke my head up before Mai's body slammed into the edge of my mattress, bouncing me up. She jumped from almost halfway across the room. Ha! You can't hide from me, Mai. Oh, wait, what? Oh, you can't hide from Mai. My mistake. Sorry. I was breathless, and I paused to calm my heart before speaking again. Are you worried about what happened yesterday? No one cares about it, Hannah. I almost forgot about it myself. She must have seen my face. I brought an arm around my shoulders and pulled me closer to her. For real, though, we're gonna go to class and no one's even gonna mention that you made a huge fool of yourself yesterday. You could have put that better. I'm kidding. It might have been a big scene, but it totally wasn't your fault. It was Paul, alright? When you jump, you have to calculate your trajectory like I did just now. You could learn a lot from a master like me. Get dressed and cheer up. I could bottle up your gloom and sell it to a wizard. And what if he used it for evil? You can't let that happen, Hannah. Her smile was wide enough to bridge a gap between continents. The beginning of tears pricked the back of my eyes. This time they were for a different reason. I opened my closet and tried to avoid looking at the sad lump of clothing inside, slathered with dried up ice cream. I only had 2 uniforms, which cost my dad an entire month's salary. I wasn't able to get the stain out of this uniform. What would I do? Sighing, I took my second uniform off its hanger and slipped it on as Mai waited impatiently for me. Ready to go? Guess so. Good. Just as Mai said, no one paid any special attention to me. There were a few odd looks here and there, but nothing nearly as bad as I was expecting. As the lecture went on, my anxiety for the most part faded. I took to staring out the window to avoid eye contact. A few boys were out on the field playing soccer. Wait, was that BBG? Let's go to closer, trying to get a better look. Hana. At the sound of my name, I leaped to attention. There's something more interesting outside than samurai death battles. Please feel free to enlighten us. You came here to learn, not to contemplate the scenery. Yes, Miss Shizuka, I'm sorry. She turned back to the chalkboard and continued her lecture as if nothing happened. A few desks in front of me, a guy sitting next to Brutal Moose turned around and gave me a flashy thumbs up. I made a face at him, unsure of what exactly he expected me to do. Then Ian turned around and socked him on the head. The other guy mumbled something to him, probably apologizing. Is that Caddy? I can't remember what Hidden Block guys are in here. I actually can't remember any of the Hidden Block guys besides Caddy and Brutal Moose. Shit. Ian's eyes slid to me for a brief instant. Then he looked away. Did they look at me because of what happened yesterday, or was there some other reason? I shook my head. There wasn't time for this. I had work to do if I wanted to keep my scholarship. After pages and pages of notes on Japanese history, it was nearly time for lunch. Okay, everyone. Everyone is almost free to go. The work tonight isn't so hard, so don't grumble. You should work together to complete it if you have a hard time. Also, you may be aware the Flower Festival is coming up in a week and a half. This news is met with a few cheers. Everyone started to pack up. Since you have the day of the festival off, our first exam will be the day before. There's no cheers this time. Romance is wonderful. Believe me, I know. Try not to let the festival distract you, okay? That is all. See you tomorrow. Miss Shizuka flashed a peace sign and winked as she walked out the door. What a weird teacher. It looks like my bitrate's starting to freak out, so I guess, yeah, maybe we'll I'm feeling good, so we're going to go for another half hour. Oh, that lecture was so boring. Mai walked beside me, a tray in her hands. We were shuffling through the cafeteria trying to find a seat. Didn't you say that yesterday? Probably, but it's true for today, too. Oh, no, help me. I'm going to die of boredom. I have an assignment to keep us busy, Mai. We already have work to do? How did you not hear that? Mai sighed dramatically. Hang on. Okay. Everything's still good. Everything's still good. I sighed dramatically and then leaned to the side and rested her head in the crook of my neck. I reached up to pat her on the head a few times, but she straightened before I could do it. Oh God, Hannah. Paul's walking over here. He's looking at you. Does he look angry to you? Why is he coming over here? You think he's going to kick you again? The same Paul who humiliated me last night strode towards me. I significantly backed away, but he kept coming closer. I'm glad I found you. He didn't look angry to me. In fact, he was giving me an odd, lopsided smile. I wanted to make sure you weren't hurt or anything. He ran off before I could properly apologize. I looked down at my feet. It was embarrassing enough that I ran off crying like a little girl, but to know that I made them feel bad was even worse. At the same time, the image of my ruined uniform popped into my mind. I couldn't tell whether I was more angry or embarrassed or whether I was feeling something else entirely. I got you pretty bad, didn't I? I think I ballerinaed too hard. He tilted his head to the side. It's a shame you're not wearing the uniform from yesterday. I like the pink splotches on you. Matched your hair. A deep, sick feeling crawled up my stomach to sit in my throat. My dumb, stupid hair. Everywhere I went, people made fun of it. I thought the Norm Boots guys were different. He was trying to apologize. Why did he say something like that to me? Like, that is him trying to diffuse a situation. It is the same kind of remark I would make. But unfortunately, Hana is so programmed that anytime her hair is mentioned, it's in the negative, that she automatically is going to go defensive. Not for the first time, I thought of dyeing my hair a different color, but quickly dismissed it. While I was waiting for a response, Mai gave me a quick nod as if warning me not to mess this up. I just at my best smile, hoping to at least be somewhat convincing. It's okay. I'm fine. Don't worry about it. Anyway, I'm more than happy to pay for the dry clean. Josh and Nick and I feel really bad about everything. Never made a girl cry before. Well, not by physically injuring her, I guess. Thank you, but I was just going to scrub it in the sink. Dad and I can never afford things like dry cleaners, so surprisingly good at hand washing things. I think he's going to need more than just a hot water and soap. Trust me. Tell you what, I have a friend who's a natural at that kind of stuff. I'll ask her to get the stain out for you. Just meet me later and bring your uniform, okay? I'll try not to kick you this time. Without giving me time to say yes or no, he nodded and turned to leave. He swung quickly back around. I flinched. Are you and, Mai, right? Do you guys have a table? The cafeteria's pretty full right now. You can sit with us if you want. Just for today. Yes, we'll go. Right, Hana? Lunch with the Normal Boots Club. I mean, second day of school and you're invited to the hottest table in the cafeteria. I'd say it's pretty damn cool. Maybe I really could become friends with them. And then no one would bother me again. Not about my hair or the ice cream incident. Right? Yes, please. Alright, follow me, ladies. He led us to the middle of the cafeteria where the Normal Boots Club sat with the table all to itself. Hey, you found her. You're Hannah, right? I nodded, blushing as I took a seat at the edge of the table next to Paul. Mai forced herself between Jared and PBG. Her eyes were only a few sparkles away from forming huge hearts. Real subtle. So, Hannah, we saw that you were upset and we were all worried. You feeling better? PBG looked at me, clearly concerned. My heart was beating hard against my chest, but wasn't sure whether it was because I was nervous or because the sad look on his face made me want to give him a hug. Or maybe it was because I was about 2 inches away from Paul and only an arm's length away from all the other guys. I tried valiantly to open my mouth. Whispers sped around the lunchroom. Look at those girls over there. Who do they think they are? How come they get to sit there? I wish Senpai would notice me. Main characters get all the luck. Suddenly, my thoughts turned dark. Could it be that by getting close to these guys, I was setting myself up as a target instead of getting protection? My thoughts spun in my head. I was suffocating. BBG was still looking at me, even more worried than before. I'm fine. Thanks for your concern. Please don't feel bad. It was my fault for getting in the way. I'm sorry for causing such a scene. I should have controlled myself better. I hung my head. I wasn't sure how to act around these guys, so I defaulted to extremely polite. My father would have been proud. Hey, Hannah, don't apologize. It was Paul's fault, right, Paulie? Nick shoved Paul, who looked exasperated. I apologized as best I could, Nick. Give me a break. It was a relief that PBG wasn't staring at me anymore. Almost no one else was paying me or Mai any attention. Shane, however, was still shooting me quick, suspicious glances. It was almost like he didn't want me there, and I felt uncomfortable. Hey, how do you like it here so far, Hana? Good. How about you? I mean, I like it here, thank you. Gerard smiled at me and then turned away. I picked up my food. Gerard is absolutely a guy I would love to meet in real life just once. Like, he seems like such a great guy. Him and Alex Fasciani. I like them both a lot. And if you've never seen if you don't know who Alex Fasciani is, check out Super Beard Bros and The Decks. Dear God, I am just throwing free ads out for all these guys, I just realized. The guys were all wrapped up in their own conversations, and Mai was busy preventing hyperventilation from being so close to Jared. I can feel his body heat. Dear God, woman, control your libido. You doing okay, Hannah? Smiling Satch turned to me. I know we can be overwhelming. You're fine, right? Yeah, I am. Thank you. Thanks for recommending me that book, by the way. It's been really good. Do you like it? That's great. I figured you would. It's really funny, but the narrator's annoying. Yeah, he can be a bit rude. He pushed up his glasses, then grinned at me. You're pretty quiet, but I knew there was more to you. I winced. Sorry, I can be a bit of a wallflower. I don't need to apologize. I'm sure we've all been wallflowers before. That reminds me, the Flower Festival. He turned to the group, addressing them all as if on cue they all suddenly turned to pay him attention. Who are y'all taking this year? Right, the Flower Festival. Miss Shizuka mentioned it before. What is the Flower Festival? No one's explained it to me yet. It's basically a festival. Didn't you have one of those at your old school? We did have festivals at my old school, but they're basically just 40 kids grouped in one room sharing snacks they brought from home. I know we had something kind of like them, but I stopped going. Oh, why not? They're so fun. I don't really want to answer. There's no way I could say, well, my friends turned on me, so when I went, people pretended I didn't exist. But I was waiting for an answer, and everyone was looking at me. I'm just not into that stuff, I guess. Oh, well, maybe you'll like this one more. The Flower Festival happens all over Japan this time of year. It's a big deal in Higanbana, which is a town right next to Asagao. There's apparently some kind of myth about flowers, or it's somewhat important. Supposedly, the founder of Higanbana was an old man who got lost in the mountains and almost died of thirst. Flower Spirit came to him and offered him help in return to his vow to protect her home. He agreed, and she drained herself of all of her water so he could drink. The man founded Higanbana and watched over the meadow in which he met the flower. In some versions of the myth, the man and the flower spirit fell in love. It's truly a romantic festival. One may hope to find someone to which make a vow of eternal love, just as the man and the spirit did, and to live on to protect the one they love. Jared winked, and Mai swooned. So during the day of the flower festival, there's a lot of stalls set up. You can go play games and eat food and go flower viewing. Then at night, there's a special meadow over by the temple where you can just go watch the flowers. There's bonfire and dancing. It's a lot of fun. We look forward to it every year. Asagao sells paper flowers in a small booth to raise money for the school, too. So there's usually a big volunteer drive beforehand for people who are good at origami. Origami? I'm good at origami. Really? Shane is too. Maybe you should work together. Shane gave me a tight-lipped smile. Somehow I didn't think that would be happening. Hey, speaking of. Whoa! Hold up. Yeah, that did show up. Okay. I'm gonna ignore? Alright, Okay, so back here. Alright. Hey, speaking of, I swear you rejected 10 girls last festival season. I mean, that's nothing compared to me, naturally, but there were so many girls with broken hearts. Even I couldn't mend them all. You still hung up on your English girlfriend? Shane flinched, visibly taken aback, then he shrugged. I don't talk to her anymore. Oh, Shane, I just want you happy, that's all. He wiped away a fake tear. Shane grimaced. How great it would be if someone asked me, maybe even if one of the Normal Boots guys did. No, I doubt that would ever happen. They're only letting me sit here because they physically assaulted me. I sighed and cut my beefcake with a plastic knife. So, any girls in mind, fellas? Besides me, Mai shifted nervously. Her eyes kept flickering from Jared to her french fries. She looked like a child who stole several cookies. Is he still... Okay, he is still sparkling. Jared spread out his arms and raised an eyebrow, a god waiting for names to fall into his lap. I'm thinking of going solo this year, to be honest. Yeah, same. Man, you guys are boring. You aren't much better, man. I am on another level compared to you guys. I've already gotten my choice picked out. There's a quiet clattering next to me. My head dropped her fork. Yeah, I'm sure you have, and it'll probably be a new choice tomorrow. Jared flipped his hair with his hand. You know me so well. There's only so much time to make so many different girls' dreams come true. I must find the one who is most in need. So it's not even about which one you like, huh? Nope. And you make fun of me. Just then the warning bell rang. It was time to head back to class. As everyone got up to toss their trays, I stood up and, overwhelmed with a sudden burst of feeling, shouted, "Thank you for letting me and Mai eat lunch with you today. I really appreciate it." Yeah, thanks. Hana was having terrible days and you guys cheered her right up. So, see you guys again tomorrow, same time? Mai tilted her head, eye twinkling. Nice. Paul said we could only sit with them today. That's cool. Paul waved a hand in dismissal, almost dropping his tray with the other. Cafeteria is really crowded and we have extra room at our table. People are too afraid to sit with us or something. We did kick a girl yesterday. Yeah, that kind of scares people off. All three of them shrugged at the same time, then left the room, moving in unison like a team of synchronized swimmers. Jared dumped his tray and jogged to catch up with them. As soon as they were out of earshot, Mai took a hand in hers and jumped up and down. Okay, that was actually... I have these headphones very quiet, but that was still very loud. Okay. So I'm getting good, like, half-hour intervals of this. That's good. That's improving. I was stopping pretty often at the beginning. Oh, there's the head. You did it, Hannah. We get to sit at the popular table. I've been trying to do this for 2 years, and you did it in 2 days. She dropped her hands and made a jokingly, I think, angry face. Main characters have all the fun. You'll be in Paris painting a diorama or a papier-mâché lamp. Anything postmodern. Then write a paper on design. Or don't. That works too. Remember, this project will count for 10% of your final grade. So work hard. Sound good? And the response was bitter murmuring. Miss Shizuka often ended with sound good, but she never cared about the answer. Alright, in the last few minutes of class, pick your partners and discuss your project plan. We'll continue next time. In a matter of seconds, almost all the desks in the classroom connected, and I looked at but a girl, Mimi Santos, had already claimed her. Mai frowned at me as if to apologize. I scanned the classroom for a few other people to meet. For the few other people I met, finding them already paired. I was going to be the only one without a partner. Suddenly, the edge of a desk collided with mine. All right, who am I with? Oh, okay. I mean, he's my target in this playthrough, so I'm cool with it. Guess we'll be working together. He sat in front of me with a cheeky grin. Didn't he sit on the other side of the... How did he get his desk over here so quickly? I leaned over to look past him. He left a gaping hole and several collapsed students in his wake. Oh my god. Dude, that's violent. Seeing my gaze, he turned around. Oh, sorry. He waved sheepishly. A boy glared at him. Well, for better or worse, we're partners. Guess we are. Sorry. Why are you apologizing? Wait, no, that's not what I meant at all. You're super smart. I'm just sorry you're stuck with me. You're pretty smart too, though, right? Not that I do. I guess, but I hate schoolwork. I don't care about it at all. 10% of our grade depended on this project. Oh, not that I'm going to make you do it all. I may not like school, but I'm not going to let someone else fail just because I think it sucks. I haven't done something like that since I was a kid. The girl got so mad, I learned my lesson. He laughed, hitting the desk, crinkling his nose. I didn't see what was so funny, but from the way he was looking at me, it seemed like I should. I smiled hesitantly. He stopped laughing and frowned at me the same way he did yesterday. Do you like apple cider? I'm sorry. Or pinball, or what about magnolias? I guess I do. You guess you do. But you... He sputtered, opening and closing his mouth like he was trying to eat the air. I searched his face, wanting to help him out. He was clearly struggling. PBG leaned forward, looking into my eyes like he was deciphering a code. Really forward, so close I could see little brown flecks in his eyes forward. What? PBG moved away, his anxious look fading into a slight smile. Actually, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it? I was brainstorming, a subject for our piece, but you didn't have any strong reactions to anything, so... I guess we'll be doing those then. Like hell. The bell rang and the students started packing up. Oh no, we didn't get to pick a project. I'm sorry, that's my fault. I was messing around, but don't worry. I'll come up with something. Just leave it to me. He thumped his chest and got out of his chair, striking a pose and giving me a wide, reassuring smile. He shuffled his desk back to the other side of the room as I packed my things away. I didn't understand what happened, but maybe it was better to forget about it. He didn't seem to want to explain. I left the classroom thinking to wait for Mai, but instead PUG trailed me into the hallway. He cleared his throat and I turned to face him. Tilted my head back to an uncomfortable degree. He was tall. And he was scratching his neck, avoiding eye contact. So, I know you said you were fine at lunch, but are you sure you're okay? I mean, you were really freaked out yesterday, so... Heat crept its way into my face. No, I'm alright. As long as you're fine, if you need help with anything, you can rely on me. Although, especially since... The uncertain look crossed his face again. Oh, never mind. Are you heading back to the dorms? Yes? Nice, me too. We can go together. He pumped his fist into the air, glanced in the classroom. I was still talking to Mimi, looking like she was about to rip the girl's head off. She wasn't going anywhere. Sure, let's go. But as we turned to leave the hall, we were interrupted by someone wearing a yellow and gray jacket. The rival club's jacket. Oh, that's got to be Caddy. My heart stopped. Standing for us was a tall man with cheekbones and like no tomorrow. I don't recognize him from our class, which means that he was one of the other Hidden Block members. I don't know whether I should... stop doing that! I don't know whether I should scoff at him or ignore him, but before I could, PBG held out his hand for a high five. Hey, Jeff! Jeff returned the gesture. Okay, alright.
Hey, what's up?
EBG, you pumped about the soccer match? Yeah, I've been waiting for this day all summer. Are you busy? I'm trying to get the team together right now for a last minute practice. You in? I am so in. I have nothing to do for the rest of the day. Are my cleats still in your locker? Yup. Awesome. Let's go then. Jeff briefly looked at me and pointed. PBG turned around, surprised I was still waiting. Oh, Hana. Sorry, I gotta go. See you in class tomorrow. I'll make sure to bring my thinking cap. Put on an invisible hat and they gave me a thumbs up. Oh, wait. Do you want to come to our game? It's in a few weeks and the first one of the year, so it'd be cool if you could come watch us. Mostly me, because I'm the star player. Wow, thanks. Of course.
Yeah.
That sounds really fun. I would love to come. Ooh, thanks. That really means a lot to me. Usually the first game doesn't conjure a big crowd. Can I bring Mai? She might have planned on going anyways, but she was always including me in things. I want to do the same for her. Totally. Bring as many people as you want. Fill up the stands. He left with Jeff, and I headed back to the dorms. Mai usually walked with me. It felt weird to be alone. Suddenly I realized it would feel even weirder to be in the dorm alone. Not knowing what else to do, I headed for the library. Might as well get started on some homework. Stayed in the library much longer than I anticipated. Head low over a small sheet project and a thick book. A small sheet of project ideas in a thick book. I'm also just not realizing I'm still in chapter 1. I've been going for almost 2 hours, an hour and a half-ish. And I'm still on chapter 1. I honestly thought that I'd be out of chapter 1 by now. Every time I thought about leaving, panic seized me. Truth was, I still didn't know my way around the academy. Mai had been there to guide me, and I was more focused on the people around me than the places. As soon as struggled past, laughing and heading off, no doubt have tons of fun, I fiddled with my pencil. I would have to leave eventually, though. Hesitantly, I closed my notebook and stood. Hey, Hana, how are you? I rolled around. Gerard was walking past me, thick book in one hand. Gerard, hi. I'm good, thank you. I laughed weakly and found myself wringing my hands together. Yeah? He clearly didn't believe a word I was saying. I sighed. I'm a bit scared to leave. I know it sounds pathetic, but I don't really know my way around here, so. Yeah, you look like a bit of a lost otter. A lost otter? But hey, I have really gotten the chance to talk to you until now, and I've been wanting to ask if you're settling in all right. I know that transfer students don't really get introduced to the school the same way freshmen do. Your class is okay. How's your homework load? Do you like the food? Getting along with Mai? I stuttered, unsure of which question to answer first. Everything's fine. Mai's great. Yeah, she showed me around the campus recently. It was very nice of her. That she wasn't very thorough. A grin slowly spread across Gerard's face as if he was unwrapping a present. I can show you around if you like. I usually give tours to incoming students. If you're new, you really should get a tour. I mean, I won't say no. Gerard's nice as hell. Gerard's eyes lit up at the mere mention of a tour. I felt bad turning him down. Great, we can start at the boys' dorm. I need to put my books away. He laughed and headed out of the library. I fell in step alongside him. Has anyone told you we don't get many transfers? It's been implied. I always wonder what new students think of everything right when they get here. Wish I could experience everything here for the first time again. Was your old school anything like this? Not at all. It feels more like a college campus because of the dormitories. My old high school was just a big brick building. Gerard nodded. I thought he wanted to say more, but there we were in front of the boys' door. Hold open the door for me, and once inside, he held open his hands. This is Bluebell House, where the boys live. It's literally a carbon copy of the girls' dorm, except that the walls are blue. Feel free to walk around, but probably don't go in any rooms. I'm going to go drop this off. I'll be right back. He raced off to the stairwell, then took them 2 at a time. I got the feeling he was rushing so as not to make me wait longer than I had to, and I smiled. Made me feel cared for. There wasn't much to look at or do while I was waiting, though. I stepped to the side so as not to block the door and stretch out my neck, listening to the sound of an action movie from the room nearby. Maybe I should wait outside. I headed for the dormitory door. When I reached to pull it open, the door swung open by itself and 2 yellow-jacketed men stepped into the hall. I stared at them in shock, and they looked at me the same way. Whoa, pink hair, that's unique. The one on the right instantly called out my hair in a thick British accent. The other, probably the youngest student I met so far, scanned up and down. You're the girl who sat at the Norman Boots table, aren't you? You could tell? Is my presence already so well known just from sitting at their table? Wasn't sure whether to be pleased or upset, but the men in front of me were busy talking amongst themselves. I never thought they'd entertain having a girl join them. Do you think it's because of the puzzle incident? Shane would never be comfortable with someone joining up just like that, though. They hardly know her. There must be some reason why she sat with them, though. They're planning a secret weapon. We should get back at them. Excuse me. I shouted into the middle of them, shocking even myself. I wasn't usually so loud or forward. The way those two were bickering gave me the impression that if I didn't stop them, they'd keep going on forever. I'm right here. You can just ask me something if you're confused. Hey, you're right, sir. You joining the Normal Boots Club then, or... Joining a Normal Boots Club never even crossed my mind as a possibility. All I was thinking about was getting in good with them, getting on their good side, and hopefully people wouldn't mess with me. Actually, joining the club, was that even possible? And aren't they gamers or something? I had almost no experience with video games. There's no way I'd be able to join. Seeing my crestfallen face, the young member backtracked. Sorry, I didn't mean to upset you. We're members of the Hidden Block Club. The Normal Boots Club is our rival in tournaments, so we're just wondering. I'm Cat Icarus, and this is Jimmy Wetzel. You can call me Caddy for short, though. Everyone does. Everyone? Jimmy cast a knowing glance at Caddy's direction, and Caddy grimaced. Almost everyone. Beautiful, thank you. Don't mind him, he tells everybody that. Because everybody is a beautiful person. Ouch.
Hey guys.
Oh, hey guys. Gerard skidded around the corner, panting as if he ran the entire way. In fact, I didn't doubt that he had. I see you met Hana. She's a new friend of ours, so be nice to her, alright? Would we ever be anything but nice?
Whatever.
Last year's tournament would beg to differ. That was one time, and it was only because Shane ate my pizza. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Later, guys.
Anyways, I don't want to keep you. I was giving Hana a tour of the campus, since she's new here. It was nice meeting you. I hope we'll see you around more.
Bye.
It was nice meeting you. Gerard waved the pair off as they climbed the staircase, then held the door open for me again. And we're off again. At the Azalea Arts Center, there's a recording booth and lots of spare rooms for clubs to meet in. The theater is right next to it. That's where John holds the drama club and all its rehearsals. I think the student council elections are held there, and Jared has a special event at least once a semester. Last year was a martial arts exhibition, and Jared did kendo against other practitioners in the school. He shook his head in awe.
See what I mean?
He's truly talented. Really all of my friends are. I think I'm really lucky to have people like that around me. Oh, Gerard. Yeah? I'm sorry. Did you have a question? No, that's alright. Great. Over there you can see Higginbana peeking out in the distance. There's a field separating us, and people like to eat there. Gerard seemed cheerful, grateful, down-to-earth kind of person. He was really going out of his way to help me out and be kind to me, and didn't really seem to realize what a big deal that was. I giggled. Something told me I shouldn't point it out. Despite that, I was truly thankful. He took me to the places Mai did and more, describing everything in several past events in excruciating detail. It's a little much for a friendly tour, but having the names and locations of buildings burned into my mind was a good thing. We ended the tour back in Poppy Hall after what seemed like hours of walking. Gerard was keen on finishing off the tour with the best place on campus. Ta-da! Here it is, the Normal Boots Club Room. Oh, look at that, a bunch of itty-bitty kitties. They're adorable. Pushed the door open and pointed inside. It looked like a regular room filled with desks and some kind of toys. It's not much, but it's home to some of my happiest memories. Shut the door again and dusted his hands. A little closet here people use to store things, too. He reached to turn the handle, but paused and retracted his hand. Was that a shutter I saw? That's a little tip. Knock before you open the door to any closet on campus. Why? Oh, ghosts, I guess? On strange advice, delivered strangely, Gerard was uncomfortable. Wasn't sure what to make of it. He knocked, and a few seconds later opened the door. Someone was in the closet. I was not expecting someone in that closet. Why was someone in the closet? Hey. Gerard waved to the person, then closed the door, turning back to me. Who? Sorry if he scared you. What? Anyways, that's it for the tour. How was it? No explanation of that? What the shit? He beamed. I hesitated, but seeing his eye twitch slightly, thought better than bring it back up. It was awesome. Thank you so much. I learned a lot about the school and about you and your friends. Really made me feel included. No problem. Not at all. I like helping out. I wish I had someone to show me around when I first got here. Alright. Do a quick save because it's been a while. You have no idea how long it took me to find all the secret tunnels and make a complete map of the campus. Secret tunnels? Secret tunnel! Okay, I can't sing. Yeah, oh man, I've got to show you. Gerard glanced at the clock hanging on the wall and winced. Darn, I gotta get going. I have homework to do. If you ever need more help, I'm here for you. You got a notebook and scribbled something down. Then he ripped it out and gave it to me. Here, my phone number, door number, address, parents' phone number, email, Facebook, and blipper information. Don't hesitate to ask me anything. What the shit, man? I'll see you later, Han. It was really great spending time with you. Just like that, he was gone. Put the paper in my bag, chuckling softly to myself, then paused. I had to check. We were in front of the supply closet the whole time. I'd fought the urge to open the door after Gerard closed it. Now I was going to see who was in there. Darkness. The light was off this time. I slid my hand across the wall, looking for the switch, and flipped it. There was no one in the closet. I froze, still as the paints and construction paper that lined the walls. He wasn't in here, and this was the only exit. I closed the door, blinked hard, and walked straight back to my dorm room. Forget about it. Just forget about it. Knowing that last incident, Gerard truly went out of his way to show he was thinking about me. In fact, I got the impression he was this way with everyone, maybe even everything. He was thorough, very thorough, and when he wanted to help you, he did everything in his power to do so. Maybe it hadn't meant much to him, but it meant a lot to me. I returned to the dorm and crawled into bed with a smile on my face, ready to take on the next day. This time, I knew I wouldn't get lost. Okay, you know what? There we are. Alright. I think we're gonna... Let me check this stuff here. Tournament point 0, so yeah, I can't do shit. Alright. Alright, that's where we're gonna end it. So if you guys are watching this on YouTube, thank you for watching. Sorry for the massive delay. And if you watched all the way to the very end like this, you guys, you're fucking champs in my book. So, anyway... I actually went on longer than I expected, so I gave myself a nice little workout, as it were. I mean, yes, I'm playing video games, but I'm reading shit constantly, and my lungs don't work great, so... Anyway, so that's going to do it. So thank you guys so very much for watching. I appreciate you so much. So thank you very much, and I will see you guys next time with more Asagao Academy, as we try to romance Peanut Butter Gamer. Take care.